Hello, welcome to Ignite Your Soul Connection. We are back again for day number 4. How exciting! If you have been with us this week, you have really gotten a lot of information for yourself, for your life, for your well being. And we're really excited to be able to bring this information to you on a yearly basis. I believe this is probably our 8th or ninth series that we presented information to support you in connecting to your soul. So this year we're talking about the New Earth children. If you started with us on Monday, you heard Icha and Timothy talk about the natal charts and the destiny charts, and we really encourage all parents to make sure that they get some type of chart reading done so that you can know what your child's life purpose is and support them in fulfilling on their life mission. And then on Tuesday, we talked with Nene Thompson and Alanda Gregory about what is true education. And for us, true education is to know thyself. And in knowing ourselves, we actually know how to heal ourselves, how to nurture ourselves, how to take care of ourselves, and even how to be safe in our own body and well-being, and even in the world, right? And then on Wednesday, we spoke with Aaron Tamar about the healing arts. And we really went in depth about the different tools and techniques and technologies and methodologies that parents can use and teach their children about healing themselves and staying healthy. So if you didn't get to listen to Wednesday night, we suggest that you go back and look at it. And there's a lot of information there, but we also gave you enough where you can do your own research and that you can find out for yourself how to do these things and then how to become an expert and even a master in it for you and your family. And now tonight, I'm going to bring my co-host on Icha. We're going to be talking with Teresa Lugo and Nene Thompson about the Tao of Parenting. So the Tao of Parenting is really looking at the conversation. How does parenting become a spiritual path? Like when the Creator actually brought us onto this earth, there was something about mother, father, and children that would make us come into the true essence of ourselves. I mean, that's the Holy Trinity, mother, father, child. And there's something about that energy that gives us insight into what our true spiritual essence is. So let me go ahead and bring each in to introduce herself, and then we can begin the conversation with our panelists tonight. Icha, can you unmute yourself and introduce yourself and welcome everybody?
Hello, welcome everybody. I am so glad to be here with you all tonight, breathing and centering myself. And as I breathe, I want to read this by Khalil Gibran. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls, for their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bows from which your children, as living arrows, are sent forth. The archer seeks the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrow may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. Okay, receive the phone call. Okay, so I just want to share that these words are from Khalil Gibran to really have us be present to these newer children. They're very they're very different kinds of beings, and it's going to require us to do something very new and different in order to be present to them, to create our families in different ways, and to share our love in different ways, and to release our old ways of being that just don't work for us anymore. So with that being said, I'm grateful that we have Nini and that we have Teresa on this evening, and that we'll be sharing about the Tao of Parenting. Wow.
Yeah, so each your voice is being distorted. I'm not sure how much of that, how we can actually create so that people can clearly hear you. You want to try your earbuds?
Can you hear me better now?
No, it's still cracking. There's something, I'm not sure if it's the.
Let me try one more thing.
Okay.
Maybe my headphones possibly. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's not that we can't hear you. It's that your voice is cracking. And now we can't hear you at all. It's like your voice went away. Okay.
Is it more clear now?
No, it's still. So can Nini? Can you hear Nini? Can you hear her well enough to be able to communicate? Can you hear her?
Yeah, I can hear her. It is like staticky or something, but I can hear.
Yeah, and Kim says that it's hard for her to make out what you're saying. So you may have to slow down because it does crackle.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so that poem was extremely significant in the conversation of New Earth children, because they come through us, but they are not ours. And I don't know how many of us of parents can really hear that, because in our community, you hear parents say very often, I brought you here and I will take you. Do you all know what I'm talking about? Do you all know what I'm talking about when parents say that?
Yes.
So what do you think? Do you think parents are ready to hear that kind of conversation?
I don't know. I wasn't ready to hear it, but I had to hear it. I had to do something different in my home, because what I was doing, it just was not working. But ready to hear it? No, I wasn't.
What made you ready?
Being sick and tired of being sick and tired, knowing that it just was not working. Having, violent relationships with my children, even with my mom, and just, it wasn't working. It was no peace in my home. It was no peace in my relationship with my kids. And so, yeah, being sick and tired of being sick and tired, I had to get to that point where it just was like, enough already. We got to do something different.
And then when you talk about doing something different, when you first looked at that, did you think that the challenge was with you or with your child?
At first, I thought it was with my child.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even the aspect of myself or even looking at my mom was not in my radar. I was just like, okay, I need to take a class because I got to figure out how to fix this little baby. What I'm doing is not working. I don't know what's wrong with him. It was always about the other person. You know, it's always about the other. We never want to look at ourselves and take responsibility and accountability at first.
Right.
So that's what my initial was about. Like, let me figure it out so I can fix it, so I can fix him.
Yeah. So Teresa, what about you? Can you unmute yourself? Where's Teresa? Can you wait a minute? I can't hear you. There you go. Try now. Did you hear what I did? What about you? How was the
Teresa's muted.
Can you unmute yourself, Teresa? No, unmute on the screen. Push your screen. You have a mute button. If you touch your screen, you'll see a mute button. And you have to unmute yourself. At the top, it's like a mic. Yeah, you'll have to do it because I can't do it from over here. I have no. There you go. There you go. Teresa, can you hear us? Did you just push it again?
Teresa, you just muted yourself back. There you go. Okay, talk.
No, are you saying anything? Teresa, you can't hear anybody? Turn up your volume, maybe. Didn't we do her mic check?
Yeah, we did the mic check. She was fine. I don't know what's going on.
Who is she texting? Each, is she texting you? Okay, so Teresa, take Teresa. Can you hear me, Teresa? Take your earbuds out. Take your earbuds out. Can you hear me?
I don't think she can hear.
Teresa, take your earbuds out. Take your earbuds out. Off the machine. Yeah. Can you hear us now?
Can you hear us?
You could hear us before, so I don't know what happened. Okay, guys, so this is very interesting.
Yes. Breathe in. All is well.
Yeah. Teresa, can you push something on your machine? Yeah, push some buttons or something. You're going to try to go there? Well, you got to come out. I don't see you up here yet.
You got to go back to the other link. We can't hear you. She said it don't work.
Okay, guys. Well, I guess we're not going to have Ignite Your Soul connection tonight.
What is she saying on her phone?
I don't know what she's saying.
I don't know. I'm trying to tell her to use her phone to log in to this, to the live.
So, Icha, is she talking to you? Is she communicating with you, Icha?
I don't see any.
Can you go to your phone? Okay, well, you got to go to your phone. We can't do it. You got to go on your phone and do it.
Where is there a way that we could? Hey, ooh. Wait.
She disconnected. Maybe she's gonna connect back in.
Well, I think the conversation is still worthwhile.
I do too.
Yeah, Shemsu.
Well, but we can't hear you, Icha, either.
Okay.
So do you have another device that you can use? Because we'll miss so much of the meat trying to work you in, because what you have to say is very important, and people are going to feel frustrated if they can't hear you.
True. Yeah,
so it's hard on people to try to listen to a hard conversation and struggle with volume and all that stuff.
Shemsu-t, they saying the show must go on.
Well, they may have to come and do it.
You are so funny. Okay, great.
I think Teresa is trying to come in on her phone, maybe.
Okay, let me mute myself and see. I know I can get this other device. 1 second.
Okay. Teresa, are you trying on your phone, on your other device?
What happened to her sound? That's weird.
I don't know, because we were having a great conversation before we started. I'm not sure if there was a button or something. I don't know.
Okay, Shemsu, can you please send me an inbox with the link?
Yep. What do you want me to send it to?
Amp Up. She's been using that one. Spring Amp.
No, I can't. It won't let me send that. I'll have to send her the link. I can send it. You want me to send it on Facebook?
Yeah.
Because it won't let me use the amp for some reason. All right. Let's send it here. All right, you should have it now, Icha, on Facebook. Now it looked like Teresa just came on. Hey, Teresa. Okay, so let's see. What is it that we can do? All right, Nene, let's you and I talk while they figure that out. How about that?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good, right? So you were saying before that part of your challenge was that you first looked and thought that you needed to do something to get your son together, right? Or was it just your son, or were there other members or other children involved, or you were concerned about?
It was other children involved. I have 3 total. but it was like the baby that was like tested all limits.
The last one, right? When you're actually at your expertise.
Exactly. I was like, wait, I've done this twice. What's going on here?
And so now, what were the challenges you were having when you realized that you needed to make a change?
A lot of violence. So he wasn't like the typical, I could spank you, he pat your little booty, and then you would, go head on somewhere. He fought back. He would have temper tantrums and would throw things and tear things up and break things. And it was like the more I would push, the more he would push back. And so when we were just like in this battle of wheels, and he was like 3, 4, I think when I took the class, he was around 4 or 5 years old. So he was like 3 years old, and we're in the battle of the wheels I had never been in with anybody in my life. And I was like, he won't back down. And I was like, I'm literally going to have to kill him.
Wow.
And I wasn't being, I'm just saying, I called each and every one day. My son was at the top of the stairs, throwing things off the stairs. I don't even know if she remembered. Throwing things off the stairs. I had whipped him. He was throwing things, books, all this screaming and throwing things. And I called each and every, I said, Icha, I am about to kill my son. And she said, okay, beloved, I need you to breathe and give that young man the phone. And to this day, he still calls her his peace and calm in human form, because he got the phone. He went into another room. I went and did some breathing. She talked to him, and it was like, So battle of the wheels like no other. I knew in my heart of hearts, if I didn't get some type of handle on us, I would kill him. And I didn't want that. I love him.
Do you remember that? Do you?
I don't remember it precisely, but yes, I do remember him saying that I was his peace and calm in the flesh. Yes.
Do you remember what you said to him?
I in this moment, I do not. No, I do not. What did I say to him?
She doesn't know, because you are on the phone, just the two of you.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't really know. You guys had a conversation, and I think you gave him, I know, because I know how you are. I know you gave him the opportunity to speak his side, his mind, and to get centered. You probably breathed with him or something. I don't know exactly what you did, but I just know you. So I'm just assuming that you did something. You let him be heard.
Yes, indeed. Yes.
Very cool. So now, what were some? Each of, do you want to go on? Do you have the questions in front of you?
Yes, I had a question. Let me bring up the information. Yeah. So, what is meant by our children are not ours? So, Qiana, since you're the only one that's on right just now. Oh, Teresa's there too. Why don't you start, and then we can go in with Teresa.
Our children are not ours. We kind of spoke of that the other night too when I was on. It basically just means that they're not possessions. We look at people, like we look at places and things, and actually, nothing is ours. Things aren't ours either. Everything comes from nature. Nature is not ours. So our kids, like, we think because we birthed them, we had great Kundalini magic and made these babies and birthed them, that they are our possessions. We own them, we control them. They have to do what we say when we tell them to do it. And that's just not true. And that's where the battle of the wheels come in, because they're like, I'm my own person. I have my own thoughts. I have my own feelings. I have my own purpose. I'm here to do my own thing. And you supposed to be guiding me. You're not even guiding me. You're down here beating on me. So we have to realize that we don't possess people, and we don't possess our children. I think we get into that whole possession with our mates and with our kids in a way that, maybe not so much as other people, but we can't But with our mates and our children, we are just so possessive, and then we want them to do and behave the way we want them to do and behave.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Teresa, can you hear us? Teresa, can you hear us?
I'm not certain if Teresa can hear us. I hear feedback.
Probably because all of us are live. So why don't you and Nene go ahead and talk? I'm going to see if I can get her on the phone and
Okay.
we'll work it out.
Okay. Let's see here. All right. So why does there seem to be a clash between parents and tweens? Nene?
Woo, them tweens. Oh, the tweens are so hard. The tweens are hard, man. The tweens are hard. My daughter, she's 20 now, but her tween kind of years, like 14, I'll even say 13, like 13 to maybe like 15 or 16, there was some rough years. Like, I think there was years like she was really trying to figure out who she is as a person. And sometimes to figure that out, you have to challenge a lot of things. You have to challenge people, you have to challenge your own thoughts. And I think that in doing so, as a parent, we don't want to be challenged by a tween, not no kid. We don't want to be challenged in that. So we have to, again, battle of the wheels. They want to figure out who they are. We just want them to clean their room and wash the dishes. Like, we ain't trying to figure out, like, who you are right now. Who you are right now is junky. Go clean this room up. So it just become like, and I think sometimes like parents forget that they were a tween. That they went through that little awkward stage too of learning and figuring out who they are. I was a tween. I was 14. I was 15. I remember, figuring out and learning about sex and learning about, going to high school and being in a different type of, building environment and different class. It was a lot. I remember a lot of, things. I remember gangs at that time, people, wanted, figuring that out. And I want to be a part of that. And I was always a busybody. So I was like a cheerleader, I was on Spanish club, newspaper. So I always did a lot of things. So trying to figure that out. Where am I at? What am I doing? How do I fit in? So I think we forget that. I think we forget that. Then we get to be adults, and then, we have a different type of fit in as an adult. We have to figure out now, like, how do we live? How do we survive? How do we take care of these kids? So then we got this tween now coming up trying to figure out who she or he is. And we done forgot that tween part, because now we in this adult figuring out. And so now we're just clashing with these babies instead of giving them the nurturing and support that they need, or that we even needed at that time.
Wow. Okay. So what about children are still not children at the age of 12? Why do people say children are not still children at the age of 12?
Well, I think because at the age of 12, you have developed your personality. You have also developed your moral code. Right from wrong. You can figure it out. And at that point, at 12, you're not really. You always learn. I don't want to say you're not learning, but you're not. You've learned the basics of life. You've learned all of the basics enough necessity for you to now make choices and decisions on your own, and kind of go out there and test your knowing and build upon that. So it's like, the stove, it's hot, so you don't touch the fire. So now you can make the choice if you want to touch the fire or not. You're gonna get burned. So now they can make their own decisions and be responsible for their decisions that they make, their consequences, and learning within that. Keep learning and developing, but they already have their moral code and personality is pretty much set by 12.
Okay. And so that kind of leads into the next question of why you are not your parents.
oh, wow, you are not your parents. Because you're different people. But what I have found, especially when I took the course, was that I'm a lot like my mom. Like a lot of things are learned behavior. And so once I really did figure out that I'm not my mom, like you know you don't have to do the same things that she did or that your grandma did, that your great grandma did, and you can do something different. I think that was eye-opening, like, oh, I don't have to do that. Because we just kind of assume like that we are our parents. We're really not. We're our own, individual people. We're all individual people.
Okay. There's Teresa.
Hey, Teresa.
Hi, I sincerely apologize for all that. I don't know, but it's all good. It's always good, isn't it?
Good work. Good work. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for patience and just diligence and just making it work. I want everybody to realize that we are bringing forward some breakthrough information this week. And because of that, sometimes there are energies that intervene to try to slow us down. This is why it's so important for us to maintain our integrity so that we stay aligned with the universe. That's where our power and our protection is, keeping our word. As soon as we get lackadaisical, as soon as we get whatever we get, that's a way that energy slips in and undermines us. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
So our integrity is our protection. It's our safety. It's our security. It brings us in line with grace. Yeah. So this is why, that consistency, being who you say that you are, being your word at all times, give you a certain way of being that, pulls us through, just like this. Okay. Very cool. So Teresa, I know you missed some of the conversation. Were you able to hear Icha read the poem when we first started out?
First of all, I just want to really center myself and honor you guys and honor this moment, because we know as women of God what this is all about at the end of the day. It's just really committing and staying strong through difficult times when things, communication is not quite there.
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, when Icha started, I had that poem already ready. When you were coming to me, sweetheart, I was about to get down on that poem. I just, that just kept my spirit alive to make sure I get through to you girls. And I just want to say thank you for loving me through this process, like always. And for me, it's all about remembering everything I've learned as a coach, right? And that is to breathe and stay calm and just continue to find the answer. So thank you. And yes, I did hear the poem, and I probably missed a lot, but
yeah, but when she just asked the question, what does it mean that our children are not our own? And then, I kind of left too, but we like to hear your side, because you bring in the Latino version, which is has a little bit of different flavor to it.
Well, I will say this. I, as a mother of two, my experience was when I was going through some rough times, I was asking God to help me in such a desperate way. Like we do as Latinos, we pray to God and we go to God desperately. That's how we pray, right? We're passionate prayers, warriors over here. And what came up for me in my spirit at a very young age, I was probably about 28, 29 when I got this revelation and this word was, those children do not belong to you, right? And that just opened my eyes to realize that we as women are used as vessels to bring forth life. And That's the it of all. And when I got a revelation like that, I really got clear that I needed to teach my children to be independent at a very young age, so that since they don't belong to me, if I was never one day not around, that they would be able to take care of themselves. Responsibility to just teach them what I could, and not in a desperate way or not in an ownership way as if they're mine, but in a way of honoring God, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
Yeah, I got from that.
Wow. That's profound. Say some more about the last part. Can you bring it like into something that is more simple, more tangible? Because what you're saying, I can feel it some value, and can you make it so that I could hear it more clear?
So, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Yeah. Okay. So again, for me, was more just that to bring forth these children, and that was really. I mean, the rest was on God, because I really got clear that these children did not belong to me, but they were mine. They were mine because I had them through me, right? So the responsibility, but not in an ownership way. These are children. This is what I say. This is what I expect. You know what I'm saying? It's just a different. I kind of dislocated or walked away from that connection of I am. You will obey. I am to. This is something that God has given me, has trusted, and I have to do the best that I could to raise them up to be responsible young adults at a very young age. That's really what I got clear about.
Mm-hmm.
How old are your children now, Teresa?
Girl, I don't want to tell you. 35, my daughter. My son is 23. Yes, 23.
Wow. And you're also a grandmother, aren't you?
I sure am, of 2 beautiful babies that I love to pieces.
Wow. You know, I was recently sharing with someone that people forget that mothers and grandmothers are leadership roles in the family. So,
Yeah.
you know, when you've gone through the initiation of being mother, and then when you become grandmother, there's a certain level of seniority that automatically says that there's something that you have to offer. So I just want to be sure that you're acknowledged for that as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Very good. How is it that bullying parents create bullying children?
Mm-hmm.
Who wants to start first? Both of you all.
Well, I could say that if we as parents speak to our children in a very condescending way at a very young age, which is really a form of bullying them to do things and act a certain way, then they are going to be bullies when they go to school, because that's how they communicate. Their culture, their parents, their roots are grounded in violent communication, I could say. That's what they're used to. And they don't realize they're doing it. In fact, most of the times they don't understand what's wrong. Why are you reprimanding me? Because that's what they're used to. That's what they grew up with. So bullies breed bullies.
Mm-hmm.
And until we recognize it as a parent, the bully that had the bully will have more bullies. It's as simple as that.
Wow.
It's a vicious circle.
What about you, Nene?
I agree with Teresa. Bullying is a learned behavior, and communication, you know, it starts in the home. A lot of times when I tell people I homeschool, people say, oh my God, how is he socialized? I'm like, you do know that all that before kids go to school, they're already socialized. You've already taught them how to communicate. You already taught them, you know, socially how to behave, because they already learn from us. We are their first teachers. And so your home environment, so you have a home where there's multiple people as well. So they have siblings, they have mom and dad, even if it's a grandma in the house, you know, how the dynamics are. This is how we learn to communicate. This is where we learn bullying. So if you have not just a parent, but if you have, you know, if you have multiple siblings that's being bullied by parents, what do you think happened to the siblings and the younger siblings? When they get bullied, they start bullying each other. So this is all things that we learn. And so then we think this is how you communicate. If I need to get something across, I need to bully you. If I want to make a friend, I need to slap you around a little bit, because this is what goes on in my home. So they then go out in the world, wherever they're, you know, school. This most kids go to school, but out in the world, and then they bully. This is how they learn to communicate with people. So it starts at home.
I want to, can you illustrate, either one of you illustrate or demonstrate what bullying looks like? Because I want people to have a clear snapshot of what we mean by bullying. Because I think that some people believe that we're talking about discipline, which is not what we're talking about. What would you say is an example of bullying that you could get all of us to like really see? Either one of you.
To me, I was actually talking to a friend about this. To me, bullying is anything that I do to a person of a weaker status, or, you know, physically or something like that, that I would not do on an everyday basis. So if my son says to me, Mommy, I don't like your dress. I don't like that you have on blue today. And I'll haul off and slap the out of him, right? If my friend came up to me and said, Qiana, I don't like that blue dress you got on, I'm like, oh, well, let me check. What should I wear the red one then? Should I, you know, it's a whole different like mindset, it's a whole different reaction, because this person, like, I look at this as this little person as a possession. One, I possess you, so you have to say what I want you to say. And if you do something that I don't like, I have the right then to lay hands on you. And it could be something really just as simple as that, because I would not do the same. If you ask yourself, would I do the same thing to my boss as I would do to my child? Because our boss say things we don't like all the time, right? Like they'll say something, they'll tell us, they'll bully us, go do something, but we won't haul off and slap them. We're not slapping our boss most of the time. I mean, probably maybe somebody will, but 9 times out of 10, that's not what we're doing. So it's when we take an action because we feel this person is lesser than us. We have more power over them.
Wow.
So then we exert this power in a way that's controlling, in a way that's very hurtful, that we just wouldn't normally do to someone who's on our same playing field or above us, or we might feel a power over us.
What about you, Teresa? Do you have an example of bullying? Of how we bully children?
You know, I had an experience that kind of puts it into perspective, right? So I'm at a grocery store and I'm trying to get to something on a shelf. And this little boy was in the way, so I said, excuse me, can I get this right here? I said, yes. And he moved aside, and I went to reach for it. And the mother, she looked at him like, you ain't got to move for her. Why you move for her? And, I just looked at her like, wow, this young man is being nice and considerate of someone at this moment. And because of what she just said, he will now be that bully to the next person. Because now he doesn't get why he should have moved. Now he's like, yeah, mama, you're right. You are my mom. I should know better. Right?
Wow.
So that's the kind of stuff that we're dealing with even today in a form of bullying. Sit your ass down. Oh, excuse me. I'm not supposed to swear. Sorry. Shut your damn mouth. Teacher said that you misbehaved in school. I don't want to hear it. That's that aggressive behavior that children will take on as real and go into the world and be that.
Yeah.
Form of bullying that I speak about. Yeah, it's really sad. Well, it is what it is. It's not sad or good or bad. It's just what it is.
In a context around New Earth children, this is a question that's not down here, but it's just occurring to me as we're speaking about it. It has me to wonder, like, what is our role with New Earth children? Because in Nini's example, I observed one thing, and then in Teresa's example, I observed another thing. To exert that energy over a child, in Nini's example, is one thing. Like I have observed before, when young people are around, feeling like they have to do what I want them to do simply because they're the young person around. They have to. I don't even make a request of them, what you doing right now? I need some assistance. Can you help me bring these groceries in? It would turn into, basically, you belong to me, so bring the groceries in.
I was gonna say, so they don't even ask. They just say, bring the groceries.
Just bring the groceries in. And sitting in a different place with these New Earth children, I asked the question, but I'll just say really what's on my mind about it. That feels deeply incongruent. With New Earth children, they are bringing to us with these indigos, us and golden indigos, all of that, what we started, because there was, in a certain instance, there was a knowing that we had that there was something else that could be created. There was something else that could be done other than you have to do this simply because I said to do it. We started, coming to a place where we wanted to ask questions. And those of us who had parents that kind of, opened up to us a little bit, or maybe a lot. I had both opportunities inside of that. My father explained to me, he told me one day, and I even shared this on another call, maybe on it was another call, that he told me that, he said, daughter, when you grow up and you have your children, don't spank them, don't beat them. And I was like, well, Dad, I got whoopings with you. I got beat. What is this that you're saying? He said, I know that we can do something different than this. I know that we can. He said, I could see that it doesn't work. You sitting up looking at me, I'm looking at you. I feel bad. You know what I'm saying? You my baby. I didn't, did what never. And Shemsu, when you shared what you did about how hands we want our young people to associate our hands with nurturing versus associating our hands with violence. That's the energy that we're sitting inside of. The energy that you're speaking of, Teresa, it lends more inside of the young people learning how to have their voice. That's what my experience of it is. When the
little boy had decided that he wanted to move aside. And then his mother came over and put her power over him. Like, no, I said stand there. You don't have to move for her. So then now he gets to, you know, sit inside of what is his voice going to be? What does he choose? You know, is he going to choose that? And it's more of his voice versus a right or wrong. Because getting inside of a right or wrong, that's something else. But for him, say, well, you know, the lady asked me to move, then okay, you know, I don't mind letting her have the space to come and get whatever little package she wants to get off the shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will add though that so a bully mom, you know, because my parents were very strict in that way also. But they weren't bullies though. They were sweet people. But my mom did not spare that rod. And she did not spare that backhand. And she didn't spare her sharp tongue. And when I woke up to that's how I was being with my own children, I had to ask for forgiveness from my children. It was very humbling because I was raising my children the way my parents raised me. And these kids were incredible and are today incredible. They're beyond their age. They're indigo, crystal. My son is amazing.
Yeah.
And here I was treating them like they were, you know, not important, a non-factor, a non-human being. And, you know, I took the class Tao of Parenting, and that changed my life. It really opened up my eyes to how I was being with my own children. Had a lot to do with the way my parents were with me. Mm-hmm. And it really opened up communication and love and amazing experiences that I can't even begin to tell you. Only because I respected their space and came up to each of them and asked them to forgive me. For I knew not what I was doing. So, and I wanted to stop the vicious circle of what I thought that was before me. You know, I don't want that for my grandkids. I don't want that for my kids. So, you know, this class, Tao of Parenting, really changed my way of being as a parent and I was a single mom. So could you imagine? Here I am treating them rough, and you know, I loved my children, but they didn't feel it because I was so busy telling them what to do and how to do it and all that. And here I am, a single parent. So where were they going to get that love? You know, so I was able to wake up before it was too late. And I thank God for that. I really do. I thank Rita, my baby girl, because I grew up a lot in this program. And it took me to a whole nother level. And to be able to say that I honor my children as if they're my little gods, I swear they are truly amazing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Yeah.
Wow, that is beautiful.
You know, it's very interesting. Yeah. I want to make sure that we put this in the resource place, Kim. What comes to mind, if you all remember the book, The Celestine Prophecy, mm-hmm. and there's a space in there where it talks about the drama, the control dramas. Mm-hmm. Do I remember that?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is what we're really getting a chance to look at. You know, like when you intimidate your children, when you interrogate them, they're either going to become aloof, or they're going to become shy, or they're going to become intimidators. So if people want to get for themselves how we're looking at our view of the energy, how our parents treated us and we became like them. You know, it's definitely in the book, The Celestine Prophecy, around control dramas. So I just wanted to share that.
That's cool. I'm glad that she'll share that in the resources. They did a really cool movie with that same James Redfield, that same one. They did that as a movie, and it's pretty cool. It's kind of magical.
It is magical. It's really good.
It's very magical. Yeah. So let's see. We were talking about the. Let's see. I'm looking to see what is the next way that we could go inside of this. Well, we kind of touched on it. The effects of violent communication, and then also, are we able to allow love to show the way inside of the violence that we're experiencing in the violence that's inside of society?
Well, before you go too deep though, let's dig a little bit into the violent communication. What do you mean by violent communication? We touched on it, but what do we mean by violent communication? I'd like to hear that.
One of the things that that's really powerful in the realm of nonviolent communication, a lot of times people think that it's not using stern words or not using quote unquote curse words. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Nonviolent communication is more so any energy of that when I am speaking with you, I'm not saying, well, you know what, Shemsu-t, you made me mad. Now, we wouldn't normally consider that would be what you would consider a violent statement. But basically what it's doing is that it's saying that I didn't have any choice in this. All it is that this action occurred, and then now I'm angry and it's your fault. So what that does is that takes me outside of myself. So I need to be inside of the conversation myself. Where are you at right now? So this occurred, and now you've chosen to become angry. Okay. So what's that about for you? Where is that coming from? And it gets into the internal work of diffusing, and disintegrating the different pieces that we get inside from the way that we have been socialized to be able to, give my power to you and say that you've made me angry. Well, that's not so. I need to.
So as parents, you're saying as parents, that's how we actually relate to our children.
Oh, absolutely. We say it. Well, I know that the coaches, they be looking at me because when they be telling me, this boy is driving me crazy. This child is driving me crazy. And I be like, please take the keys back then. You know what I'm saying? Don't let them drive you. Get out the car. You know what I mean? Because it don't have to be all of that. They done something or said something. I get that. It's aggravating. It's tiresome. I get that. However, when we get inside of maintaining our own vibration, when we see that it's off, let me get it back together. Okay, I see that I'm this, that, or whatever. Let me get it back together, and then let me commune with my young person. Our young master geniuses, they really coming straight to us, and they making it very plain to us in such of a way that they are like, yeah, I'm not going. And then when they see, that they could get that reaction and everything, then they really dig in a little bit like, oh, okay, this what we doing? All right. And so what we get an opportunity to do, if we choose to, is to honor them differently. So coming into a conversation with them where we allow them to say what's so for them. And then, we get an opportunity to say, like, if it's something that was a violation in the house or whatever like that, we could look at, okay, we've agreed that in the house, we're going to do thus and so and whatever. And you've chosen to do this. So what's the new agreement? And so that way we give our young people opportunity to see, what does it look like for me to move myself around in the world? That is the strength that we're talking about when we're talking about the different principles of the ACEs programs. And you know I had to bring up ACEs. And not to mention that we have an ACE on the line, Nene, right? But ACEs is Academics Creates Exceptional Students. And inside of the ACEs program, when you go to themasterforce.com, you'll see that we share inside of there the 4 principles. Well, 4 of them. There are more inside of it, but the breathing, the focus, the empowerment, and the strength. Those are the things that we base this on. And having command of your communication is a part of what the young people can expect. And we really want the parents to know this, because if they'll think that it's worthwhile, they'll be able to share it with their children in a way that's fun for them. Somebody was asking me today, they were like, how am I going to present this to my young person? Will she think this is fun? Because we're saying that it's fun, so they need to know that it actually can be fun. And part of it is, I think, as a teenager, and I could really get present to this, I think that if I knew that I could have like some kind of a chip or something that says that I get to talk to my mom and dad, and I actually get to say what's on my mind, and we have to like agree to be, I don't know, we would have to say it a certain way, but if they knew that that was an option, I think that they would absolutely be excited. So parents, if you're watching this, you will have an opportunity to talk with your young people and let them know that, yes, it can be fun. Because, yeah, you can talk to mom and you can say something to her. So having them be empowered inside of their communication is one of the ways that will shift what we've been experiencing.
Very cool. So, Nene, I want to hear, because Teresa, you brought it up earlier, the Tao of Parenting is a spiritual path, right? So, Nene, in your experience with the nonviolent communication, how has that shown up in your family, and how have you been able to kind of bring it to a different variant?
The nonviolent communication, I was laughing so hard when she just said, "You're driving me crazy," because I'm the coach that she told to get the keys back. I'm like, he's driving me crazy. He's like, take the keys back. I'm like, oh, okay. Nonviolent communication. I'm still learning. I actually just rewatched the video the other day, because I'm still learning it, and so I've made a lot of strides for the better, but I still have some work to do. But what I'm realizing in this moment, also because I talk to my kids a little bit more, asking them questions. I asked them the question that I think no parent really wants to ask: how can I be a better mom? where do I need to improve? Ask your kids that question and see what they say. Like my kids, my son, he the baby, he like, oh, you're perfect, mom, I love you, you're just the way you are. However, we can talk more. And I was like, oh, okay. Then my middle one was like, well, she was a little like iffy. She was like, I don't know if I should be able to say. And she did, and hers was communication as well. And then the oldest, my 20-year-old, was like, oh, girl, I got a laundry list. Like she had waited her whole life for me to ask her that question. Right. Like, yeah. So she had a whole laundry list of improvement. But it all basically centered around me communicating more with them, me being with them more. So even in a non-violent, even a violent communication, it could be as simple as not being present to your kids, not even having communication, because your communication goes, did you wash some dishes? Okay, how was school? Okay, you want tacos or chicken for dinner? And then that's as far as the communication goes. You don't actually sit down and have a conversation with them about what's going on in their life. They're not talking to you. You're not listening, to them, and y'all not having a dialogue. So I think even in learning to just be present and actually have conversations with them like you would a friend, or you would a colleague, or a life coach. Like we're coaches, so when we have conversations, sometimes they be like cosmic, they be out of this sight, out of this world, and they be fantastic. We can have them same conversations with our kids because they're cosmic, they're psychic, they're all that in a bag of chips. So having present communication where you're just present to the children as people and just being there to converse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm learning. That's what I'm learning now.
So I want to hear about how you learn from your children without the question of how can I be a better parent. What other ways can you learn from your children?
Watching, listening, being present to them. Because they'll show you, they'll tell you. Well, I know mine do. Mine will tell me, they'll show me. There are mirrors, right? So they mirror us, they show us areas that we need to improve in. So we're like, harping on something that they're doing per se, something that we don't like that they're doing, we're probably doing it. We're really talking to ourselves. So we tell our kids, oh, you don't do your homework, you don't do your homework, and then you in the class, you ain't did no homework. Or, it's like you're mad about yourself. It's just, they're just showing you. So when we really look at them as our mirrors and really dig deep and seeing what is going on in our mirror, then we find out that it's us that we have to start working on and not them. And then they'll mirror greatness. That's one of the MFC principles, mirror greatness. So if we're not liking what our reflection is, we got to do the work. We got to do the work. So that's how we learn from them kids. We gotta look at what's going on. We have to look at what they're mirroring back to us. If we're not seeing greatness being mirrored back to us, that means we're not mirroring greatness.
So Teresa, how would you repair a relationship? How would you go about repairing a relationship where you really can see that there's something about your child that you cannot stand? And you know how we say that, I can't stand that.
Really?
Oh, let me just say this. One of the things that I've learned in life about parenting is even if you don't want to parent, they will parent you. Your children will parent you into parenting. Dustin, my son, when I found out, as far as my son was really one that grew me up as a parent because he was so strong-willed. And as much as I would tell him to be quiet and respect his teachers and do this and this and that, this boy was like coming home in second grade, showing me the homework that the teacher graded was wrong. In second grade. And I was like, what are you talking about? Just sit down and give me this paper. You know better than that. And I looked at it and realized he's right. So he constantly challenged me in ways that I didn't know what to do with it because I wasn't raised that way. My parents said something and I did it. Even if it was wrong as a $3 bill, I just did it. So for this child to come up to me the way he was coming up to me, I didn't know what to do with that because I wasn't really spanking him because I said I wasn't going to do that. I had got tired of punishing him. And when I got really clear, when I did Master Force, and I got really clear about my son being an indigo child, which I had never heard of it, it really woke me up to the incredible person that was in front of me, and I had to honor that. To a point even where the teachers were saying that I needed to have him tested for ADHD. And I remember when that teacher called me, I was like, excuse me, what is your name? And I never forget his name, Mr. Schaefer. I says, Mr. Schaefer, I think you have ADHD.
Teresa, did you really say that?
I did. Because I couldn't believe a teacher was telling me this, because first of all, this was his gym teacher. So, you know, I mean, I'm like, okay, now, you know what? I am no fool. Okay. First of all, he's at gym. So how does a gym teacher say that my son has a, attention deficit? Where is he not? I don't understand. I said to him. And yeah, so when I started studying it, I remember doing Master Force. Thank God for Master Force at that time, because when I went through the program and I learned about my child, I was able to be a stand for him, even though there were times, and I know you remember this, Rita, when I would say, man, when people say, how's Dustin doing? Girl, he's a pain in the ass. How's Dustin doing? Oh, he's a pain. And I started to realize, I think it was a whole year. You got to remember this. I had hemorrhoids for a whole year.
I do remember. And I
Teresa,
remember
did you really?
saying, you better quit saying that.
Wow.
And that is the Bible truth.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was, I'm talking about painful. And when I got a whiff of that, I mean, it just started to just unfold. My life, my relationship with this kid just started to unfold. And now,
I'm about to look it up, right?
Yeah.
I'm about to look it up, right?
And
wow.
now I am able to talk to parents when they tell me that their son is, being treated for ADHD. I tell them, listen, your child is dialed into a higher dimension. It is attention dialed in a higher dimension. Mm-hmm. That's what you had. ADHD.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, girl, he is or she is beyond you and me and us. Mm-hmm. You have to, allow your child to express themselves. And then sometimes they're very, they're empath. Is that the word empath? I would say empath.
Empathic.
Empathic.
Mm-hmm.
They're empaths. They are.
Yeah. And that's another thing I've introduced many people, actually, friends of mine that are adults. Mm-hmm. And they're going through stuff, and some of them are taking antidepressants. I would say, listen, do you know who you really are? And when I would say that word and they look it up and they're like, oh my God, no one ever showed me this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a big difference.
So, we are people, boy, we are classified in this world as people that make it and people that don't, or people that have ADHD and people that don't. It's not that. But some of us are very sensitive to spirit, and some of us are just running this race called life. And those that are very sensitive are being judged so harshly that some of them don't even speak till they're 4 and 5 years old, because no one's going to listen to them anyways. Mm-hmm.
I do want to say this, and each of them, I want you to tell us what you looked up. But there was a time that we actually did discover that teachers were being paid a stipend for how many children they can get hooked on the ADHD medication. Now, you can go and research that and find that out, but teachers were paid to get children hooked onto ADHD medication. So most of the people who were targeted were our children. And if a teacher is being underpaid, that's an easy way to get an extra $50 a month if that child stayed on that, or however much they got, I don't know. But that's out there. So parents, I don't know if they're still doing that, but I do know, because my children haven't been to school for years, but I do know that there was a program like that.
Yeah. Wow. That's wow.
And you know what? I'm going to add this because when my son was in high school and I was going through all of this, and he told me, we were really talking a lot, and he was telling me a lot of his friends were on that ADHD medication. Well, guess what? He told me that they had friends that were taking it with them because it helps them to stay up longer, to study at night.
Wow.
And I found out that he was taking it a couple times to stay up at night to, you know, do his homework. So I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah. And so they were sharing it. They were sharing.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It was the candy. It was the candy of choice, honey.
Wow.
Wow. That is really something.
And probably still is. It's probably still happening.
Okay. We're being aware. We're being made aware.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow. What I had looked up, Teresa, since you were so brave to admit that you had hemorrhoids, I looked it up in Louise. Hey, the reason that it says it as a probable cause is a fear of deadlines and anger of the past, being afraid to let go and feeling burdened. And so then the new thought pattern is, I release all that is unlike love. There is time and space for everything that I want to do. And one of the ways that we want to support the parents is really realizing that they can have a level of wellness that they haven't experienced before, because normally they might think, oh, well, I ate something bad, or this happened, or that happened, whatever, in which that is a physiological part of why you might experience something. But normally our bodies are very strong. And so if you're experiencing something, it must be possibly some place inside that your energy is weak. You know, and so saying that to say, the area where you experience the issue, your body wants a new thought pattern there. So that's what that affirmation is about. So when we have things that come up, we can go in and we can write the affirmations down. So this would support the parents in being able to bring their body into wellness. And then they will be able to be present to the young master geniuses in their space that showed them, you know, what's coming up for them. Mm-hmm. So that's the way that ends up working, because it happens on different levels. So it's not as though something is not physiologically occurring. It is. And one of the ways that it's showing up is letting you know, what can be addressed about how you're thinking. And then when you're back to yourself, you can get with the little person.
Very cool. Very cool. All right. So now about the course itself, and we've talked about the Tao of Parenting being a spiritual path, or parenting being a spiritual path, and some of the things that you actually brought forward while you were taking the course. What would you recommend parents to actually take on inside of their relationship with their children? What tangible things? And each just gave one by pointing to Louise Hay and looking at the ability for everybody to have this well-being. And then we also talked about the nonviolent communication. What other things can parents actually take on so they can be on this spiritual path with their children?
I think self-care, we've been talking about that all week. But I think we can't stress it enough that that's one of the things that as a parent we have to take on. We have a responsibility to ourselves. Self-preservation is the number one universal law, and we have to take care of ourselves. And it shows up, just like Teresa was saying, it shows up in illness and disease. We have this discomfort in our space, and then we manifest it in our body. And I know I was rereading all my debris from the Tao of Parenting, and at the time that I took the course, I was feeling spiritually and mentally just all over the place, and I was saying like I have a lot of sickness and overeating, and my body is showing it. Was like my exact word. Like I'm showing it, and so I was not taking care of myself. I was not, self-care was like out the window. So we have to, I think, like, the first things first is going to be to take care of yourself. It's just like when they stay on the airplane, parents, put the mask on yourself first. Get the mask, right? They say show you how to do it, and put it on yourself. Yeah. You need to breathe before you can do anything else. Before you can help anybody, another kid, another adult, you have to do your breath work first. And I know that's not what they're saying. I put the MFC touch to it, but we have to do our breath work first. We have to do our self-care. We have to take care of ourselves, and we have to get into regimens that allows us to do that. We talked about the hot water in the morning. I'm sure you and Aaron talked about, emotional freedom technique yesterday, and Marvin it, and, getting into these different techniques of self-care.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
That's how we can start supporting the parents.
Very cool. What about you, Teresa? What would you add to that?
Wow. I definitely agree with that. Self-care, number one. Hot baths, really. I can't tell you, hot baths, baby. It's sometimes better than an orgasm, I gotta say.
I love my hot
Teresa.
bath too.
All right now. I like a hot bath myself. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It is the answer. It really is. And I don't think people understand that. In fact, more and more homes are being built without the tubs. A lot of people are building their homes with showers.
Right. Need that tub.
I'm telling you, girl, you put that hot water, you put those bubbles, you put those beads, you put the oil. It takes you to a whole nother level of relaxation. Mm-hmm. I highly recommend the class Tao of Parenting. I cannot tell you, parents, people, you don't even have to be parents to take this class, because this class gets to the root, the very root of what the issue is in our lives. As much as we do self-care and hot baths and everything, if we don't see where all this comes from, why am I acting out? Why am I being so mean? Why am I going through this menopause and it's taking me down a nasty road? Why? Mm-hmm. If you don't do your self-work, yourself, see, we forget, you don't have to be in a problem state to take classes that will help you to become a stronger being on this earth. You don't have to be broken to take a class that's going to give you strength in times of need. You don't have to be. You just have to want better for yourself. Mm-hmm. You have women that are saying, I don't need a man. I'm 55. I don't need a man. I got a retirement. I got a house. I got this. I got that. Sweetheart, if only you knew how important it is to have a masculine partner in your life.
Oh, amen.
Baby, don't get me started, right? Don't get me started. Mm-hmm. So I think that the most important tool that I can highly recommend is sign up for this class. $40 or $4,000. In fact, the owner's right here with us. She'll probably tell us after we're done. But I'm telling you that this will awaken magical you that you didn't even know existed within you. And it will open up relationships that were closed. You would actually call your ex-husband to apologize for some things. I mean, this is some really deep stuff, and it's necessary. Because why is it necessary? Because if you don't deal with the root of the problem, it's going to come up in dis-ease. You got cancer in the throat. Why? Because you weren't speaking your truths. You were holding stuff in. There's so many things to talk about in that area alone. The dis-ease that's in your body that you've been holding in is just poisonous, and it's cancerous. So that's what I would say. You definitely want to just reach for these wonderful tools that are available, and don't look at it as I'm broken or I have a problem. I don't have a problem. I just have always reached for better me, because I really got in touch with how tough I was. I really believed a lot of the things that I'm saying to you right now. I don't need a man. I don't need this. I have 2 children. They got me. They don't need a father. Duh. Looking back at even that conversation, I could see how much it really hurt them not to have that masculine energy in the home. So we have a lot of, a lot of real good stuff to look forward to if we're open to it. And the other thing I would say is meditation.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of meditations on YouTube. You can just put it on, get yourself in that beautiful hot tub, put on that YouTube meditation, and just relax and breathe. And that's the other thing I highly recommend that Moot has taught us in the Master Force class is breathe to center. How important breathing is. My God, if only we knew how important breathing from our belly all the way up moves so much in us, so much stuff that's just stuck. It's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's the answer. And then lastly, I would say, think before you react to your children. What's coming up for you in that moment when they say something? What's coming up for you in that moment? Breathe. Listen to what they just said. Respect them for who they are when they said it. What are they really saying? These incredible young people that you brought into this earth that are incredibly gifted. They just want to be heard. I'm going to leave you with this. Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, "Why do you speak so loudly and yet I don't hear what you say?"
Mm-hmm.
That's what the children are saying to us,
Wow.
That's what the children are saying to their parents. You don't hear me. So let me put my earphones in my ear. Let me get back on this call. Let me get back into YouTube. So, yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us to connect, and it's such an amazing process. It's a wonderful, wonderful chrysaling process, from going from that caterpillar to that beautiful butterfly and create a wonderful relationship with our children. It's so amazing. And remember, you got grandkids coming, so you better start now.
Well, I have 5 grandchildren, so yes, I just they are the best gift that I could have ever thought of. I would have never thought that my grandchildren would be so luscious. I just really.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
yeah, I'm gonna say my grandson was 2, I think 2, 3, and he used to tell me about his make-believe friend, and he had names for them. And I used to just let him talk to me about it, and it was the most beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if it was my mother's days, if I was my mother to me, when I used to talk to her about dumb stuff, she would just snap. "Oh, stop saying that. Why are you saying that? There's nobody there." Ugh. Our children and our grandchildren, they're so gifted. They are so in touch with the spirit world. And we as parents, sometimes we kick it out of them. We shake it out of them. And that I tell you, if it wasn't for Master Force and the Tao of Parenting, I don't know what kind of grandmother I would have been.
Wow, that's great.
Really. Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
Each, what was your alarm telling us? That it was 9 o'clock?
Yes, it was.
You had the bells and whistles tonight, don't you?
Yes. Wow.
So we're getting to the end of the show. What else is there? Did you have any questions? I know we have so many questions that, again, we always have so much more to talk about. Was there something, very significant that you wanted to point to before we actually ended tonight?
In this moment, let's see. we did talk about the Tao of Parenting, and then we also talked about ACEs. Those were the main things that really, I think, there to be spoken of. Go ahead.
There was one more that I think, Teresa, I just want you to kind of touch on this a little bit. How does divorce like really affect children? Like what, and then what can we do to not have it be such a negative effect? You want to speak to that a little bit?
Sure. So they've done a study that your child, at the age you divorce, your child will always revert back to that pain when they're 25, 29, 35, 45, if they haven't found peace with it. And when I read about that, I was so blown away that that pain can actually stay in a child for so long. And the reason that that happens is because when it happens, the child's world is in disarray, is disrupted. That beautiful family unit, that masculine and female energy is now yanked from him. And the kid is left in wonderment, like, what happened? What did I do wrong? These kids are not even a factor in the situation. Parents are going through a divorce with each other, never considering that they're going through a divorce with their own children. And it's so painful for the child to realize that they have no voice. They have no voice.
Wow.
And some of them are affected so badly that some of them go into they'll never speak again mode. Some of them go into doing drugs. Some of them go into craziness. Now, one thing I would say is there are people that go through a divorce today, thank God, and get how important it is that they do it in a way that the child is not going to be affected in that way. And that's by communication, by having someone to talk to, listening to the child, let them cry, let them feel, let them go crazy and go off on you. Why are you doing this, Mom? How dare you mess up my family like that? Whatever they have to say, these children have to let it out. And 9 times out of 10, these children are not allowed to. Some of them are pushed to live with the father, and yet they want to stay with the mother. It's just it's a sad situation at the end of the day. So I think that parents need to realize that this marriage thing comes with a price, and they have to really consider the children that are involved.
Yeah.
And it's not about them. It's not about them. They made a decision to divorce. That's a decision. But the whole yanking apart of the family, that has to be done with delicate gloves when it comes to the children. And unfortunately, the children just don't have any word. They don't have a voice. And a lot of times, even when I had my stores, I remember seeing fathers come into my store with their daughters, and you could tell the father was divorced and the daughter was with dad. And they would just buy them up all these clothes. It was good for me as a business owner, but you could see how much they were trying just to make things right with this child because of the divorce. So the children are also affected in that way because they're not even growing in the normal way, because a lot of them are showered with gifts and anything they want because the parents haven't really dealt with the situation at hand. They just want the kid to kind of look over their pain. And so they do it with things. So they're not even able to grow up in a very healthy environment in that emotional state either, you know?
Yeah, that's really great, Teresa. So I can hear, and I think this is probably something that we have really stressed all week the importance of bringing value back to children, like really getting, I know for myself, I actually made sure that my children knew that we were equal souls. Like they may be younger than me and they may be my children, but at the soul level, I knew that they had just as much value in the relationship as I did. And because of that, you know, they were able to have a voice. Now, that doesn't mean we didn't have our challenges and our problems and, you know, whatever, because I don't think that parenting is about not having problems. I think, again, we're learning that pain is one of the best teachers. And so when we learn how to grow through that pain, and when we know how to be with each other as we go through the pain, that's where the true partnership and parenting comes in. So thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
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 Nene, did you have anything to add to that?
I think Teresa hit it right on the head. I have not been divorced. I'm married. But I do know even with conflict inside of the home with husband and wife plays a huge part in the kids' lives, and we don't really, you know, think about it, and it's like, you know, it don't concern you, but it they're in the house, it affects them. So if we're walking around with tension and not, you know, we're not talking, and like my son, he'll show us things. So like he wanted to go to the movies, but I was like, well, you and your dad can go. And he was like, no, Mom, I need you and Dad to go with us. And then when we went, he normally like sits kind of in the middle, and he was like, no, I need you to sit next to Dad. And I was like, why? What in the world? Well, we've been having yeah, we've been having some turbulence. We've been having some tension, and so my son's like, yeah, he knows it. Like we haven't been outwardly arguing, but he feels the difference. He knows what it looks like when we are on the same page and we're vibing together, and when we're not. So he's like putting vibes out, like, no, sit next to Daddy. No, come to the movies with us.
Wow.
You know, yeah. So we have to be, I think, mindful, even in conflict, and working out conflict in ways that shows children that, you know, how to work out differences, how to build from, you know, okay, we married each other, whatever the case may be, and this is how we work it out reasonably and responsibly. And then also, you know, coming to having a conversation with them when you see that they realize, like, hey, this house not right. You know, having a conversation with them to say, you know, this is what's going on, and we are working through something, and we love you.
Yeah.
You know, it's not anything, you know, we will never take that away. Like as parents, I don't think no parent ever feel like, they might not say it because we don't think to say it, but kids take on a lot of our stuff. They want to protect us just like we want to protect them. And so they get into this, I want to fix my parents thing. So we got to let them know, like, you know, we're not broke and we love you. And, you know, this is what's happening right now. And we are going to work it out. So just, you know, send us love and light like we send you love and light. And just be open and have those type of conversations. And they're not easy. Like I'm saying it right now. Somebody's like probably like thinking like, it's easy. No, it's not. It's not easy sometimes to do that. But that's that soul work. Soul work is just not easy. And so we have to breathe into it, and we have to just do it. We have to do the work. And then it gets easier. Then you can have a conversation. You know, more practice, and it'll flow. It'll get easier to you. So you just got to have the conversation. Just let them know that they're loved. Whether you're, you know, getting anything that happens in your home affects your kids. It affects everybody. We don't like to. We as adults, we just don't like to admit that. If you're worried about money, it affects your kids. If you are worried about anything. It affects your, if you're worried about your relationship with your spouse, if you are going through a divorce, if you've gotten a divorce, all of that affects your whole entire system. Anything that goes on with you affects the whole entire system. So we have to be mindful of that and have the conversations.
That's powerful. That what both of you are saying is extremely powerful. And really, we said this, you know, our community, the African American community, is in crisis. And if you look at what has been replaced on television, which so many people watch, I mean, you used to have the Cosbys, you used to have Good Times, you used to have a family unit represented. Now you don't. I mean, you have you have so many different things coming on where people are not taking in consideration the child. And that's what we have to get back to. So what both of you are stressing is really, really valuable. So thank you for putting that in. What were you getting ready to say, Icham?
Oh, when you were talking about the effects that separation and divorce and conflict within the home can have on the children, part of what was coming to me was what you basically were sharing, Nene, so that the children know that they are always loved, that it is not relative to the experiences that we're having or anything like that, that they really get an opportunity to know that they're deeply loved and that, you know, we'll move through whatever the conflict is, but that the love will be consistent. That is what I know. Just wanted to reiterate that.
Yeah. And you can go through a divorce and have the child know that and still be friends and still have it work as a family unit. It just takes maturity.
Yeah, families are becoming different. And then also with these new earth children, we get an opportunity to let them move through and have their own speaking about what they're experiencing as well. So.
Very cool. Well, I think that's the end, Icha. You want to close us out?
Absolutely. Let's see. I would like to thank all of you all for joining us this evening. It's been a very informative conversation and giving us a chance to be present to our new earth children in a very, very special way. I would like to thank Nene and Teresa for being our co-hosts this evening, and Shemsu-t, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to co-host with you yet again, and we will be back again on tomorrow. So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you. And if you want to find out more information about the Tao of Parenting, you can visit our website, themasterforce.com, and it is a course on there. So, and then you can always just send us an email, all right? And what? Go ahead.
I just want to add that if anyone has any questions, because I did not get a chance to introduce myself this evening, but I am a executive master coach with Masterforce, and any questions at all that you might have, or if you heard anything that you're dealing with and you would like to chat with me, feel free to email me at closetcoach2012@gmail.com. I'd be happy to assist you in any way. If you're feeling that you'd like to just have a conversation, or if you'd like to have some coaching done, I'd be happy to assist you. My heart is for family, and I really take a stand for our children, especially our children. So just thank you so much. Rita, I love you. Thank you, Icha, Nene, and all the Masterforce coaches. We are a force to be reckoned with, and I'm so honored and humbled, and I could just cry in tears of how grateful I am that I found you guys in my life. And God really brought us together. I'm not going to say I found you. I'd say that God orchestrated this relationship in my life. And I can't tell you how it sent such a ripple of love in my life to my family and my friends. My life has never been the same since. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Teresa. And thank you for being so generous with your family, with us. I love your family. It's amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Yes, thank you, everybody. I also am running a play day special for the whole summer family play dates. It's already on the Ignite Your Soul page. So if you would like to schedule a play date with me, with your family, then I will be honored to host it.
Very cool. I love a play date. So creative. All right. Any last words for you, Icha?
No, all good. Thank you very much again for joining us, and thank you for Shemsu for the master force.
You're welcome.
Very,
Thank
very
you.
cool. And again, we will see you all on tomorrow.
you.
And Rita, do you have, excuse me, Shemsu, do you have the last days?
Yeah, we're actually answering questions. It's answering questions for parents and guardians. I believe it's who's on there? Alanda, Nini, and we're going to see if Ushayas can join as well. And just really fueling the questions that parents have had this week. We've provided a lot of information, and some parents had questions after we were off the air. So we'll be answering questions tomorrow, 7:30.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys don't go anywhere. I'm going to cancel out.